Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy II for the Nintendo Famicom system. Last episode, Fess, Maxine, Booker, and Leila ran into a little bit of a problem in the Mysidia cave. They couldn't advance any deeper into the cave because there was a doppelganger there that basically mimicked their movements and prevented them from heading deeper into the cave where the crystal rod is apparently hidden. So, well, let's go back to Mysidia and see maybe somebody can give us a clue about what we need to do. So, Booker will get that new black robe. Leila will get the gold pin. We don't need the agility boost from either of them because we already have equipment that gives agility boosts, but the extra defense that those pieces of equipment will provide will be helpful, so we might as well just equip them, so. Well, even though the Flans are weak against fire, their defense is high enough that even with that extra 20 bonus that the flame bow would give to Leila, it's not going to be able to penetrate their defense, so just put it back on the ice bow. Oh, hey, we got a critical hit there, nice. So if you would have had the flame bow, you would have done an extra 6 damage, so not enough to take this thing out. But since there was only 2, we might as well take them out one at a time with the fire spells. If there was more than 2, then we just multi-target, because it takes 2 fire spells to take these guys out. But we'll just use it single target, that way we eliminate one of them right off the bat, so it can't attack us and potentially poison us. Hey, Maxine got another intelligence. Let's see what her intelligence is, see what everybody's stats are, kind of. Oh, that gives another multiplier, so there we go. Yeah, it's your intellect divided by 4 that adds to the magic power of a spell, so every 4 is a big increase to your spell power. So, we've got some of these cockatrices here. Like other cockatrices in other games, they can turn you into stone. So, boo, don't like that. Really annoying in Final Fantasy 1, especially when you're playing it like how I was playing it, where I didn't want any of my characters to be knocked out in battle so that all of their experience points would remain the same. So they would all level up at the same time. So that caused quite a few resets because you can't unpetrify a character in battle in that game. So I'd either have to flee the battle, but sometimes I wasn't able to flee. Then of course, yeah. Not so much of a problem in this one because, like I said, this is a different leveling system. We don't have experience points, so if somebody, you know, gets, stoned like that, we're not losing out on anything. Just that experience for that, well, just that, the skill experience for that battle. So, but that's where those gold needles came in handy. So, let's make our way back to Mysidia. Talk with that bookshelf again, learn more about the keywords, and in talking with that bookshelf, that is how we will discover what we have to do with each of the 2 masks, the black mask and the white mask. So, we gotta go through these enemies here. There's a few new enemies around this area that will be nice to run into, but if we don't, luckily we can run into them later on in the Mysidia Tower. So, we have vampire girls and werewolves. Vampire girls that drain hit points, which I guess makes sense. And then, like I said, they have that drain effect I talked about 2 episodes ago with the blood sword. Basically takes off 1/16 of your max health and gives it back to them, so yeah, I think it'd be pretty dangerous. And the werewolves just poison you. If they hit you with their physical attacks, they can poison you, so kind of like those Flans. Bunch of poisonous enemies around this area. So, luckily these enemies here, the flying rays and these rhinos, bighorns, they don't have any special attacks or abilities, so, or elemental weaknesses, so it allows us to work on our Scourge and Thunder spells. I'm going to try to get all these up to level 6 before we head to the Mysidia Tower. But the dungeon we have coming up, we actually have 2 dungeons. We have the Mysidia Cave, and then we have another dungeon after that. The Mysidia Cave is pretty long, and the dungeon after that is a very short dungeon. But we do have some time to, you know, work on our spells. So. Oh, and I forgot to move Fess to the front row. I always keep forgetting that. Yeah, every time your character is knocked out or status ailment and incapacitates them for a battle, they get put in the back row. So, but luckily he's not like Booker, who basically has to be in the front row. Fess here has can spam his Asuna spells, because like I said, we still want to try to get that up to level 8. So let's keep working it. Yeah, he can do something. Leila, of course, and Maxine, they like being in the back row. Back row with the bow and magic spells. So, Fess got some MP up. That's nice. Maxine MP as well. Maxine MP isn't going to be as important because eventually she's going to get that Osmo spell at the bottom of the Mysidia Cave, and with that spell she can just, you know, drain MP from enemies. So, then basically our Ether's will only basically be for Fess. So, Scourge is getting closer to level 6. That's probably the one that we'll work on more, because there's a lot of work on it when we can, because there are a lot of undeads in the Mysidia Cave. So we're going to can't use Scourge on them. So whenever we have a chance to use Scourge against non-undead spells against non-undead enemies, we'll use the Scourge, because then that way if we fight a bunch of undeads, we can still use our Thunder and power that up. And the next dungeon is going to actually kind of be a water dungeon, so a lot of enemies in it will be weak to Thunder, so Scourge is the higher priority, because less opportunities to use it, so when we can, might as well use it. So let's heal ourselves up here at the inn. We don't have any MP on Fess, so we can't heal more hit points, but that's okay. Money isn't all that important anymore. We're getting so much gear that we sell and not use that money is not going to be a problem for the rest of the game. But what is a problem is knowing what to do with those masks. This bookshelf will help us, though. So let's talk with these remaining keywords here. Mysidia. The mages knew they were too powerful, so they founded Mysidia to remain secluded. Nothing about that thing. Ultimatome. Eons ago, Pandemonium, the palace from hell, emerged onto our land. The mages conjured a mighty spell and banished it. The mages feared the great power of the spell, so they sealed it within a tower. And masks. Give the white masks to the goddess underground. If thou art pure of heart, the doppelganger will cease to move. Fit the blast mask upon him, then he and his defiled heart shall fade. So yeah, so now we know what we have to do with the masks. Put the white mask on the goddess statue here in town, and then that'll allow us to fit the black mask onto the doppelganger. As you saw in the last video, if you tried to talk with the doppelganger to bring up the key item menu to put the blast mask on it, it would just talk with you and say like, hey, what are you doing here? You know, and go into the little cutscene, so. But now if we put the white mask here on the statue, surprisingly the white mask stays in your inventory. So, I don't know. But yeah, now we fit the white mask, the doppelganger will be frozen, and we can put the black mask on it, and that'll open the way forward into the Mysidia cave, deeper into the Mysidia cave. So, well, so yes, the undead, we can't use Scourge on them because they absorb poison, so we'll just have to use Thunder. We could use Fire to wipe them all out, but we want to try to, you know, build up our skills and stats, so by delaying this battle, we allow Fess to use some of his Asuna spells, and we can get Thunder up a few more points. So, yeah, fire would wipe out pretty much all of the purple guys, and anyone damaged by like Leila's bow there, that Spectre there would have been taken out. So we'll instead work on our Thunder. Thunder can take out the purple ones, you know, with one casting. So, and while Maxine takes out the purple ones, then, you know, Guy and Leila can take out the yellow Spectres. So, you got good damage there with the fire bow. Getting a lot of switching in and out on them based on elemental weaknesses, so... Yeah, see that fire spell prevented, if we would have used it, would have prevented Fess all those turns using the Asuna spell. And like I said, it's important that we try to get that to level 8 as soon as possible. So, and then we can just forget about Asuna after that. Because that's as high as we really need to get it. Like I said, spells can go up to level 16, but it would take so much casting to get it to level 16 that it's not worth it. And it doesn't, most spells that provide a buff or cure something don't add any new things to their abilities after level 8. So, real no point in getting them over level 8. Damage spells, though, are a little different because, you know, the higher level you get a damage spell, the more damage it's going to do, but, you know, buffing spells, stuff like that, yeah, you don't need to have to worry about getting them past level 8. So, eventually we're going to have to start working on Maxine's buffing spells for haste and her berserk. But like I said, we can start doing that probably in the Mysidia Tower. But we want to get our elements up to level 6 for that. Because there's quite a few bosses that... 4 basic boss monsters. Well, there's 3 boss monsters and then 1 guards a chest. So it's basically like a 4th boss monster. But that'll definitely help, so... So, could use, take out that, mine there with, the thing with fire, but we'll work on our Scourge spell because, with all the other characters attacking the bomb, we should be able to do enough damage that we can take it out before it blows up on us. Well, Maxine didn't get to use her Scourge, but as long as you select the action, you get credit for it. So it didn't matter that Maxine didn't necessarily cast the Scourge spell. She's still going to get credit for selecting it in that battle. So it was nice that Leila went first and finished off that mine. Because Maxine was targeting the bomb, so it would have she would have wasted her MP. Speaking of MP, it's a good thing that Leila has that Thunder spell, allows her to take out the red mooses, and while Maxine takes out the black flans. So yeah, the game developers kind of thought of pretty good things, giving her that Thunder spell. Makes sense in context. She'd probably want Thunder spells, being a pirate. That's what everything on the most things on the ocean are weak against. Speaking of ocean critters, eventually, in a little bit, I was talking about the Mysidia Tower. Actually, after the Mysidia Tower, we'll get new ocean encounters and new land encounters as well for most of the world. There's a few places like around Mysidia, Deist, and the snow plains where encounters don't change. But everywhere else around the world, once we finish the Mysidia Tower, the overworld encounters will change. That's why a few times I went back to areas and farmed some monsters, because some monsters will disappear and you won't be able to fight them. So if you were going for like a completed bestiary, you gotta get those monsters. So the parasites in the back weak to blizzard. And the Marlborough is weak to thunder. So, we'll, could have single targeted the Marlborough with some thunder, but I figured the parasites are pretty weak. We might be able to finish them all off with a multi-targeted blizzard spell. Yeah, I think they only have 250 hit points, so... Oh, Man, just missed it by 2. Oh, maybe 260. So, very close there. We almost took both of them out, but figured I'd try to get as many of them out of the way as possible. Even though the 2 in the back couldn't attack physically, they do have that chain spell that they can use, so they could, you know, deal some damage and hurt us, so try to get as many as we could out of there as possible, so. Leila will probably do more damage with a thunder spell than her ice bow, even though it's a lower rank, because, like I said, the marbles are weak against thunder. Not that she's going to get to cast it, though, now, because she managed to take it out with weapons. So. Oh well. She probably could have taken out that parasite if she used thunder. But one of the good things about elemental weaknesses is every single casting will hit if the enemy is weak against it. So, yeah, weapons, spells are kind of like weapons, you know, in that sense. I think I've explained it earlier, but like, say Booker has a sword rank of 6, he can get at most 6 attacks, but some of them may miss based on the enemy's evasion. Spells are like that too. It's basically, you know, fire level 6, you're casting 6 castings of fire on an enemy, but some of them may miss based on the enemy's magic evasion. But if the enemy is weak against an element, there's no miss chance. So, yeah, casting fire on, you know, these undead, all 6 of the fire castings will go through and hit. So that's why, another reason why, when you exploit an elemental weakness, you do so much damage, because they're not evading any of the magic, and they're getting extra, you know, damage, because they're weak against it, so. Stronger spell, no guarantee miss, equals lots of damage. Uh-oh. And Booker and Leila are sleeping on the job, darn. We could have used them, because these guys have some pretty nasty status ailments. Like I said, the ghast in the front, the purple ones can blind, and then in the back, the specters can stone your character, so try to get rid of them as soon as possible, but unfortunately we got put to sleep, so otherwise I think one of the specters probably would have been taken care of by now. Maybe both of them, because Leila would have probably finished one of them off, and like she did there, and Booker wouldn't have had to attack the ghast in that last turn, or this turn. But, oh well, we got rid of him anyway. Now we just gotta get rid of that doppelganger, so we're gonna head down to the south again. Hopefully we don't get into too many random encounters. But of course I want to wrap this episode up before 20 minutes, which means that I'm going to get into a lot of random encounters, because I'm getting close to that time. So, it doesn't help when we get ambushed. That means the enemies get a whole bunch of turns, so. I wonder how the ambush things work. I know it's based on Fess's agility, but earlier we ran into a group of 5 cockatrices, and we preemptively struck them. So, yeah, it's weird. Now we run into 4 and they preemptively strike us, so I guess there's some behind-the-scenes role that factors in your agility. So sometimes I guess the enemy can get lucky, and sometimes I guess we get lucky. Fess is not getting lucky. Now, the weird thing is, I didn't mention this, one thing is, like, even though the ribbons should prevent stuff like that, status ailments from happening, the ribbon doesn't prevent status ailments from happening that occur as a result of, like, a physical attack. So, like, if an enemy casts a stone spell on Fess, he would block it, you know, be ineffective. But sometimes some attacks have, you know, a secondary effect, like how we had the Ancient Sword. The secondary effect of the Ancient Sword was it would cast a curse. So even if the enemy was, you know, strong against curse, you know, the secondary effect, you know, because it was happening because of the physical attack, it could still go through. So that's why Fess there was turned to stone, even though the ribbon should prevent, you know, somebody from casting the stone spell on him. So yeah, as I was saying about random encounters, 2 more steps, and I would have been able to finish off the doppelganger. But no, the game got to be difficult and give me a bunch of random encounters when I don't want to run into them. But Oh well. Encounters are good as long as you're not skipping encounters and playing the game. You don't really have to grind in this game, so we'll accept the encounters for what they are. So can we take out the purple one? Yes, we can. Nice. Once again, I forgot to put Fess back in the front row. I keep forgetting to do that, so yuck. But that's okay. Like I said, he can spam his Insuna spell, or if need be, he can also cast Cure on these Revenants. So, like I said, we're trying to get that Insuna spell up. We still have 3 more levels to go, basically 2.5, because it should be pretty close to level 6. We should get level 6 in this cave by working on it, so... Like I said, encounters are weak enough that, you know, Maxine, Booker, and Leila can take care of them, so... Alright, so yeah, now that the doppelganger is motionless, the purity of Fess's heart is binding its movements, which allow us to place the black mask on it. And once we place the black mask on it, it disappears, and we can go forward into the next floor, where we'll pick up in our next episode. Take care, see you then. Bye!